Thank you for tuning into the Model Connection podcast. I am your host, Eric Harrell. Please like, follow, and subscribe on social media and everywhere you get your podcast. Links are in the description. With us today is a very special guest.
Everybody, thank you for tuning in to the Model Connection. My name is Tim, sitting in for Eric, and we've got a great show lined up for you guys, so you picked a great time to be here. Very quickly, for you newbies, what is Model Connection? Well, we are based out of Nashville, Tennessee, though obviously we broadcast to the world. And what we do is we like to interview models. We like to interview shooters. So I would invite all of you guys, if you are involved in the model/photography network, the biz, whatever you want to call it, and you'd like to be a guest, just reach out via Facebook, hit us up, Model Connection, and we'd love to have you be a part of the program. And part of what I think is so great about it is that it's not uniquely about models or about shooters. It's about the industry. And I have done these as a guest in the past, and they've always been fun. And we've had models and photographers on the same show to share opposing, not necessarily like adversarial viewpoints, but the different aspects of what it takes to make a great shoot. And I'll use that as a segue to get Megan on the show. And she is absolutely adorable. And right over here, Megan, thank you for doing this. We appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course. Now, let me start by, could you tell us the name you actually modeled by so people know how to reference you?
Sure, yes. It's MEGHAN LEANN Miller, and I've been modeling for a couple years now. I learned about modeling, I actually tried in Nashville through my friend Lily Hendrickson, tall, blonde, 6
Mhm.
foot, blue eyes, like the model
Yeah,
runway
of course.
figure.
Yeah.
But she introduced me to Tribe, which is a very diverse model agency in Nashville, and I got on with them, and they took me immediately, and I've been working with them for the last couple years. That's my mother modeling agency.
Okay, so that's a lot to unpack. So I'm going to kind of bounce back. Let's start when you mentioned your was it Lily?
Yes,
Okay.
Lily Hendrickson.
Okay, so how did you two meet? How'd that happen?
So I went to MTSU for my bachelor's in criminal justice, and I started going through ROTC, which is a reserve cadet program that the college offers to transition officers into commissioned officers in the military. She's currently in the Guard. I'm active duty, but we met through college.
So how long did it take before modeling came up? How does that happen?
I think we talked about it on and off for about a year, and
So had you modeled at that time or no?
no, I was in a few pageants. I did pageants to try to pay for college.
Mm-hmm. What if you don't mind my asking, what kind of pageant are we talking here?
The state fair or just the fair,
Mhm.
Warren County Fair. I'm from Warren County, so I would do some pageants there or some in White County where I met my husband. I went to school there for a little bit, and I did a pageant there as well, and didn't ever really place until I moved back to Warren County, and I won junior class beauty, and I got a scholarship and some
Nice.
roses, and it helped me get my associates. I started at Motlow, and then eventually got a scholarship to go to MTSU on a Army budget.
So when you were, or first of all, how many years roughly were you doing pageants?
About 2 years.
So you had a couple of years in,
Yeah,
and
I did
I
one
ask
as
because
a
I've
kid.
worked with some pageant contestants myself, being
I'm
a
definitely
shooter.
not like pageant driven, like die hard.
That's a
not me.
lifestyle, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that's not me.
Yeah, you really have to. At least the ones that I've known, actually one now is a really good friend of mine, and she's more or less in the industry in the business of
Okay.
doing pageants, and as far as I'm able to observe, it's a lifestyle. So
Yes.
it doesn't sound like that was really what you wanted to do.
No. My heart was into the military. I wanted to enlist, and I took the test a few times, and the recruiters would be like, "Hey, you should try to take on the college." And at the time, Tennessee Promise was a big thing, so I signed up for Tennessee Promise, signed up for financial aid, and I did college instead. So I got my associates, Motlow State Community College, McMinnville.
So how, because that it is so against type, and so I have to ask this: is how did you develop your love or desire for the military? Because I don't see that too often with models.
So in kindergarten, I seen 9/11 happen.
Hmm.
I remember sitting in front of the box TV rolled up on the little cart, and
Oh,
we
you were
were
in class
I
for
was
that.
in class, and they pulled us out. And my dad came home from work, and I knew something was wrong because Dad was home from work, and that's not normal. And I'm sitting on the floor and watching it, and just everything happening. And my dad said, maybe one day, because I said I want to do something to stop this. He's like, maybe one day you can join the military. Weird time to say that, but it stuck with me as I grew up. And as time went on, people in Iraq would come on the news, and there was a girl with her head shaved, and she was talking about coming out of basic and going straight into Iraq and fighting, and it really inspired me to go. And now I'm military police in Fort Campbell.
So your parents, it sounds like, would have been supportive for that?
They didn't want me to go away.
Mm-hmm.
I left for Missouri a couple years ago for my training. My mom was devastated, and Dad was kind of mixed feelings. And I've got a little brother as well. He's 14, and he didn't know how to take it either. As I've been gone, he's grown his hair out and dyed it black, and he plays drums and things now. And I've got a little sister, and she's gotten a lot bigger since I've left. But I'm in Fort Campbell, so I can come back and forth and see family. They're about 3 hours away, and I can do things like this on my off time.
So let's fast forward from that, and so you meet Lily, and you mentioned that who brought up modeling? Was that
Lily.
you? Lily did. So
Yeah.
I guess you guys are doing whatever, and she goes, "You should try this."
Yeah, she would always tell me how beautiful my brown eyes were and my hair is so long. She's like, you're just not applying yourself. You should try. It doesn't matter that you're short. You don't have to runway, and maybe one day you can do runway." Because I always thought, oh, well, models runway. Everybody has to do runway. That's very stereotypical. It's not
Mhm.
the case.
No, it's not.
There's plus size. There's big, small. There's people in wheelchairs. There's everything you can do. Anybody can do it. And so I took it on, and at the time, I didn't really think that it would go anywhere. I did my interview, and I did a little skit, and I think I was talking about like Lucky Charms on a cereal box or some kind of Weight Watchers bar. And they called me back and said, "We want you. You really have something." And
So who was they?
Tribe Talent
Tribe.
Management. Hmm.
So tell us a bit about Tribe, because I've never knowingly shot any of their models. Maybe I have. But how did you and Tribe kind of hook up? How did that come about?
So I sent a email to them on their scouting day. It was like a Thursday night, and I said, "Hey, I know I'm missing this one tonight. I'm in training because we were getting ready to go to FTX, was a field training exercise for ROTC, and I said, can I sign up to come do your next call?" And Sherry, she's the main lady over the Tribe Talent Management. She's the founder, and she said, "Of course, like." Come by Thursday night, 5 o'clock, and we'll get you in. We're on the list. And so I showed up 4 o'clock, early. I think I left class early just to go to this thing. And I sat out in the parking lot and went up there, and she said, "Your hair's so long. Why is your hair so long?" I'm like, "I don't know. I always had long hair." She's like, "It's beautiful." And she kept staring at me as the casting had went on, and it was in Nashville. I'm trying to remember the name of the street, but it was a beautiful little house they have set up, and everything's very like they have a little runway you can walk down. They watch how you walk. And she called me back and she said, "You're going to come with us, and I'm going to be your mother agency from here on." They gave me a few classes and taught me like how to speak in front of camera and just a lot of basic things. How to apply makeup for like something like this,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe just a bare shot for commercial. And they've taught me a little bit of the basics along the way. But from there on, my main time I've been freelancing on the outside because I've been traveling so much and I can't meet what they have scheduled for me. I'm like, I can't do that one, can't do that one. Army, sorry. So all my stuff's been freelance for the last couple years.
Yeah, I think it's John Lennon that once said, "Life is what happens when you've made other plans."
Mm-hmm.
And that's certainly proven to be true. It sounds like I know I can speak for it. It sounds like you can as well. So you are accepted into the tribe, I guess is the way it should be described. So tell us about your first shoot. How did that come about? The very first time you worked as a model.
Okay. So my first shoot was actually with Tribe. I had a few photographers and a few locations they had me to drive out to. So they told me, being a Tribe model, you're going to learn the basics of going out to these places. We're going to have a makeup artist here. She's going to teach you how to put it on a little thick and then bring it heavier as the night goes on. So I think I came down about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and they put on a light shade of makeup on me, and I went to my first photo shoot downstairs near some trees and stuff, and did some still shots like standing and a couple kneeling and then headshots, and it was very fun. I really enjoyed it. It was a sunny day. I was kind of hoping that it would be raining because
Hmm.
I always wanted to do a rain shot. I still have not done that, but it
Rain
was
shots are great.
yeah. I like doing those. I've got a lot of fun ones that I've done as time has went on in the water, but not rain. But we did one by a bridge, and it was like a formal shoot. And I actually put some of those on a business card. I'm gonna bring them up to you before we part
Oh,
ways
good.
today.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Networking is
yeah,
important, which is another reason, by the way, that I so recommend this program, Model Connection, because it isn't unique to shooters. It's not unique to models, and it's not unique to hair and makeup and all of the cogs in this wheel that
yeah,
come together to create the world of model photography. It is all of that and more, which is why Model Connection, in my view, is such an important cog when it comes to the networking.
yes.
I've met some great shooters because of the show. I've met some great models because of the show. You and I met because of this show.
Mhm.
And networking, in fact, let me get your opinion on that because I've been very vocal about mine. Do you like networking or not like networking? What's your
I
take on that?
love genuine connection through networking. I love meeting someone in passing and not really knowing like what they actually do, and just maybe they say, "What do you do?" And I'll say, "Well, I do freelance modeling on the side. I represent a tribe," and they're like, "Oh wow, you actually model? You're so short," and it starts a
How tall
conversation.
are you, by the way?
4'11".
Okay, so you're
Mhm.
considered unusually
Yeah.
short in the world of
Yep.
models. But you started to get into this earlier, and I made a mental note to come back to it. When you talk about the stereotypical, like every model has to runway,
Mhm.
that is incredibly not true.
Nope.
But by the way, and I can appreciate where growing up you would assume that because I can see where a lot of if you look at I guess the stereotypes, you like a Vogue or a Cosmo or any number of mags that feature the glamorous
Yeah.
kind of girls and so many of them are either shot in a runway pose or runway setting, or they in their biography they talk about runway. That I could see growing up where you would do that, but in fact, it is not. One of my personal favorite quotes, and she just did this really off the cuff. An amazing model in the Minneapolis market named Tanya. Tanya, hi, if you're in the audience, by the way, she's just an incredible model talent. And, she wasn't 5'10" either, she wasn't 4'11", but, not 5'10", but she's native Russian, and she's
Wow.
got this great Russian accent that I can't really do, and she called me and she is the blue eyes and the blonde and can just rock, um, any if you want that formal or that glam, just incredible.
Mhm.
So she calls me up one day, she had this idea for a shoot, and she said, "I want to do, London punk," and we got together at this location, which happened to be on this really industrial bridge, and she had over the top crazy makeup with black that was running and really messed up hair and razor slash jeans and the shirt and everything else. And this is why I remember the quote because I said, "Well, that's a different look for you." Because by this, we'd shot like 3 or 4 times, and she gave me this great quote. She goes, "Anyone can do pretty. I want to do something else."
Yes.
And she just did that off the cuff, but I've always thought that's a really a lot of wisdom in that, because for those of you that if you're looking to and I wanna absolutely involve you with this too, because 'cause we're gonna talk about, I guess we could say guys too, but in this case, girls that are looking to become a model. Um, what she was referring to is that, as you said, is that there's so many different types of models. There's very thin, there's larger, there's taller, there's shorter, there's ones with really wild hair and colored hair and no hair, and in your case, the really long hair. And there are so many, even now it's become, at least in the last few years, they become what known as alternative modeling.
Mhm.
And I may have a different term for it now, but I've always liked that one. One thing I wanted to bring you in on, since you are 4'11", you don't fit the runway stereotype, but it sounds like you seem to work quite a bit
Mhm.
as a model, which is obviously great. What's your advice to let's just take a girl that she's been told she's pretty or she's been told she's different, which, by the way, I think is fantastic for a model to be different. What's your advice to someone that's thinking, should I take the leap? Should I try this?
Yes, I think that anything is possible. I think that the insecurity, if that is there for them, not
Hmm.
to be, not to let it take them away from something different like modeling or trying to do runway. Because I know that in some places they are starting to open up shorter models for runway purposes, so it's not completely gone. I've took time to invest, find research and different agencies who might want to promote people to do short runway modeling. I've had a hard time finding it, but it is starting to come. It's not obsolete anymore. It's becoming more of a thing. So I would tell them that don't give up, just keep trying and get your feet wet. Like do some trade for time photography, do some freelancing, do some stuff with like your own phone or something. Like don't feel like you can't do it just because you're small. There's a lot of commercialing and stuff too, and acting that you can do in the meantime if you feel like you're not getting enough of the photography
Is
experience.
that something that you grew into as well as doing more of the theatrical?
A bit. I did do theater in high school and middle school and things, and as I've grown older, I did theater at MTSU as well, and I loved it. I want to get back into it. Since I've been in service, it's just not been as much time
Sure.
for it, but I do want to. I would like to try to get my face out there on some commercials and promote some good brands or something. Whatever is available, I would love to do something like that.
Do you find that your the experience you've had with I guess we could call it drama or stage, has that translated to modeling, or do you consider that two different worlds?
I feel like it translates to modeling. And as we get to the photos later, John Carter actually brought that out in me a lot because I done some photos with him, and he's like, "Give me drama." I'm like,
Hmm.
"Oh, I got you. I got you drama." And so I'm flipping my hair, and I'm looking sad, and I like cry, or I'll just get angry, and it comes out in the pictures as well. It's needed. You need to have some kind of theatrical
Yeah.
behind your photography too.
Can you cry on cue?
I try. I could try. I mean.
I'm not. Well, maybe I should ask you to see if you could do it right now.
Oh, it's no, I can't.
No, not at
I
not at
can't.
the moment.
I'm not
Okay.
a crier, so it's kind of difficult.
But I actually, I one of the reasons I asked you that is I think that having a dramatic background like that can absolutely dovetail
Yeah.
beautifully into modeling. Some of the best models that I've worked with, I'm not. I mean, are you technically photographing them? Yes, but they're in a role, and I think that role is defined by the costume and the shoot and the attitude
Yeah.
and so on and so forth. You've mentioned John, and I want to come back because I've never knowingly shot with him. How did you two meet, and how did the relationship happen for you guys?
So, I'm a part of the group on Facebook, Nashville Model Castings
Hmm.
Network, and I would always see these dramatic photos, super like black and white. The lighting's really strong and sharp, and I would see some of the gothic top stuff, and some of the grunge that he would do with some of the models. And I didn't realize this man lived 5 minutes from my mother.
Oh
So
wow!
I drive right by his house for years. And I finally reach out to him and I'm like, hey, would you like to get together and do a photo shoot or something? I really like what you do. And he's like, yeah, actually, I think I contacted you in the past, but he actually contacted my mom because we look so similar. And she didn't model at the time, she does now. And we finally got together and shot one of the pictures that's on here about a year ago, maybe two now. During a family reunion, I took time off. I drove away. Everybody's in Van Buren. He's in Van Buren. And I went to his house for a couple hours and did some photos. Me and my husband stayed with him for a little bit and got to know each other. And I really appreciate him. He's so respectful and he knows how to like pose people and stuff. And we just really hit it off, and I really like to work with him. He's a great person, very, very respectful.
So, what kind of shoot did you guys do?
A basic casual, and then a little bit of a biker photo shoot.
Hmm.
And then while we were shooting, we were actually planning for the next one. So, and that's the first photo that I have with us here today too. And then the couple of photo shoots later, we shot the mermaid, and that's in there as well. But we usually plan on the days that we're actually shooting
Hmm.
for the next one. So we have so much planned together to shoot in the future.
So it sounds like you two have kind of become a team, I
hmm
guess, for lack of
yeah,
a
he's
better.
got a lot of other females too that he works with. A lot of ages, a lot of ethnicity, race, size. Um, he's got some males that he works with as well. He's also shot my husband in my eye on Valentine's Day. Really fun with a cigar, very casino esque.
Now, when you say you were shooting, because this is a topic that I guess I'm guest hosting, I can directly bring it to the show. Is shooting? Was that at a studio, the first one?
It was in his house studio, so he
Okay,
has a
so
separate
but it was an
area.
actual studio
Yeah. Mhm.
setup. Because I'm a natural light shooter, so
Yeah.
everything I do, it can
Outside.
be in a house, but it's not the big paper infinity wall and the strobes. That's not something that I aspire to.
Right.
But I much like models where you have different, obviously, heights and looks and things. I view photography and the shooters very much the same way. I don't
Mhm.
think that any two shooters are going to have exactly the same thing.
Right.
They have different attitudes, not to mention different lenses, different gear, and they have a different approach. Because I've used shooting models as an art form, and I think that the great models that I've worked with have viewed it from the opposite, the polar opposite, where they view the pose and to deliver the performance as an art form. And I think that's where it clicked. Now, you speaking of click, you mentioned that you and John hit it off, so you're going to be moving forward.
Yes.
Do you find it's important to quote unquote hit it off with a photographer? Does there have to be chemistry, or do you find it can just be a gig?
I found my first photo shoot, I didn't really make a connection with those people. I did friend them and I've kept them and I use them as reference when I show those pictures.
Hmm.
But we didn't really hit it off, I guess, per se. It was a different approach, just to get fresh face out there for that purpose. Um, but like I said, I always run into someone and I'll usually have like a genuine conversation. For John, it was through the group. That was how I met him. So, but I find if there's not nothing like you gotta have some type of chemistry there to be able to work together. Like he likes EDM music. I enjoy EDM. My husband likes EDM. Like, and he's usually coming with me too to kind of observe and make sure things are respectful and there's boundaries there and
Sure.
things. And that's very well appreciated too. I've been to a couple of shoots by myself, and there's been a time where I'm like, I don't think I'll come back. I don't think I'll come back to this person because it makes me feel
Okay,
uncomfortable.
so no names. That's not where I'm
Mhm.
going. Is but can you tell us, because I think sometimes a negative experience can be spun into a positive for others. Can you tell
Yes.
us a bit about that situation? What made it bad for you? That sort of thing.
Well, it's not good to keep strikes on someone, but shouldn't take 3 times to say no.
Hmm.
So, for example, if you're wearing something that has buttons or you got something that hangs off the shoulder and they ask, oh, well, you pull it farther down, farther down, and you say, no, 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 that's enough. That's enough
Yeah,
for
I'm in the
me.
school
So,
of no means
yeah,
no. I just first of all ethically,
yeah,
but also I think from a just a personal aspect.
yeah.
I find that rather distasteful,
And
but
I
that's
love
me.
I love some photos, like, if that's what that's about, if it's a boudoir or if
Hmm.
it's a art form, I love a lot of those photos that the photographers make, but for my purposes, that's not what I signed up for, and I make that blatantly clear.
Well, let's talk a bit about
Yeah.
that because I think boundaries are crucial, in my opinion, on a shoot and
Mhm.
every time. And when you are now you mentioned so you one of the things you don't do is boudoir. Is that what you're
Correct.
saying? Okay, so
Mhm.
that's just something you do not do.
Correct.
But at the same time, you've mentioned you appreciate the art of it.
Mhm.
So you obviously look at others' work and go,
Mhm.
"That's a beautiful girl," or "That's the lighting's really cool," or
Mhm.
or whatever. What is so? Obviously, that was a bad experience, but it sounds like you got out of it
Yes.
unscathed.
Mhm.
Clearly, you don't desire to repeat it.
Correct.
So Is that something that when you are working now, I assume it is, with photographers, that you discuss what is the shoot going to be, what's it about, and
Yes.
prior?
Yes, and most of the time, it's about a 50-50. Now that I've been working more with John, we usually already have a vision in mind, and
Hmm.
there's schedules and, like, different dates and things, and I almost said uniforms, clothing that we have picked out. So it's already established what it is, and he knows what to expect from me because he knows me. For other photographers, if I'm approaching them with they're approaching me with a new idea or
Hmm.
something. I've had a few, say, "Hey, we're gonna do a topless with jeans in the woods," and I'm like, topless? No, I don't do that. I'm sorry." Or I don't even say I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. That's not what I want to
No, you
do.
shouldn't be sorry, because
So,
that's okay. There are things. See, I learned that as a shooter as well. There are certain shoots I do not do,
mhm.
and I, because I've done this for a while. And when I first got into it, I was of the mindset to, like, no matter what they ask, yeah, I do that, and no matter what. But
And
I
that's
don't.
yeah.
Like, I'll tell you, one of the big ones I don't do, and I still get asked, weddings. It's just not for me,
Oh
and I
wow.
I say that knowing full well, yes, that's where the money is and all of that, and maybe I'll change at some point and go, "You know what? I guess for money, I could do it," and I don't find that very artful, really. Um, I tend to go for more of the artistic. What speaking of which, what's your favorite? What do you like to do?
I love to do Halloween, and I don't even wanna call it just Halloween. I love to do the dark, and I don't have a lot of those for myself, but I have done a few that hasn't got posted or shown or shared with anybody.
Oh, Halloween shoots are
Yes,
great.
I love to do them,
Yeah, I've
and
done a few here in the Nashville market.
it's hard to find people that wanna do that, and John does wanna do that, but we just haven't got around the time to do it yet because all the
Sure.
greenery, we wanna take advantage of the nature and stuff, so but, yes, I love the dark, I love the grunge, I love the London-esque, the dark,
But yet that's
everything.
something you haven't done in the shoot yet,
I've
or
done some
some.
some, I actually went to an abandoned gas station and did a seance. So, and it was, with, like, a candle and some skulls and stuff, and I had a dress and a circle formation of candles around me.
So was that a multiple model shoot, or it was
It was me.
just you
It was
doing it?
me, and then this, photographer in Missouri, and he goes by the name of, Numad, and his wife is also, comes with him, and she helps, like, lay out the materials or sets the lights out or, like, whatever she needs to do to make the shoot come together.
So did you bring that idea to them, or did they came to you with it?
They came to me, and asked if I wanted to do any kind of artsy Halloween darkish type stuff. I said, "Yeah, I've actually wanted to for a long time, but I can't find anybody that wants to do it." So, but yeah, they came to me about it. I had shot with them doing a summer shoot for a little bit and a few other things, and then October started crawling around, and that's what we did.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I've done a couple. In fact, Tierra Hernandez is a local model that does fantastic dark,
I've
and
seen
I've shot
her.
with her a couple
Beautiful.
times.
Hmm.
Yeah, she's terrific. So Tierra,
Yes.
if you're in the audience, you've got a couple of fans here. Yeah, she's one that I really loved. I've probably what, 3 or 4 shoots at least with her now, and she knows exactly what the shoot is about, and she's one of those models where she's
Hmm.
just on it from the
Yes.
moment she's got the outfit. In fact, every time I've shot with her, it's been absolutely her idea. I want to do X. And then I go, that sounds great. Let's do it. And then she'll have it figured out from the hair and the makeup, everything. And then
A
if
to
there needs
Z.
to be more than one model,
Yeah.
and again, coming back to networking, guys, by the way, networking. I cannot stress this highly enough, and I speak as an introvert. Um, get out there as much as you can and network. It will pay dividends because you're going to meet people that know people that know people, and it's also, in my experience, it's been a great way to kind of, I guess, for lack of a better word, narrow the field
Yeah.
because you can narrow down. Like, I want to do this kind of a shoot. Who do you know that does X?
Yes.
And I think not as much, to some extent, actually, yes, for photographers, but definitely for models, and especially for female models, is networking to find out who you love to work with and why, and also
Mhm.
who you did not love to work with
Right.
and why. Because I'm someone I'll sit out here and talk about it. And in my experience, a lot of people are just like, "Oh, don't talk it, just brush it under the rug." Look, there are people that get into this world in various levels to, in my opinion, to be predators, and I don't appreciate that, not
Um,
one little bit.
I agree with you.
And I stand vehemently against it. I think there is no room for it. Another reason I love doing this platform, not that I can get out here and just talk about that, but is this is a place where you can meet people that are very serious, be they shooters or models in the business, and we know people that know people,
Mhm.
and we can, if you want, and it's all voluntary. We can help guide, and it sounds like you've been able to do that to
Yes.
some extent.
Yes,
That must be kind
absolutely.
of gratifying, I would think.
It is. I like to. So with my mom, I've actually got her on board with doing it now, and she's so close to John. She's been able to do a few photos with him, and
Do you guys ever work together?
we haven't yet. I want to. I would love to do some kind of grungy, dark something. My mom's got a lot of tattoos and stuff, so she likes that kind of thing. She plays guitar, and I would love to do some kind of like a mock, maybe stage singing rocker thing.
Hmm.
But I've got so many ideas. She's always showing me ideas. I'm like, yes, Mama, I know. I'll be down there soon. Just give me a little bit more time. 'Cause I'm so far away, but
So, what's the dream shoot for you? Time and money, no object. Could do anything you want.
oh, rain. I want to do rain so bad.
Really, out of everything anywhere in the world, it just rain.
In a place?
Which
Oh, a specific
no, it
place.
could be. Maybe that's the correct answer. Maybe it is just rain.
I've been to a few places. I loved London. It has a lot of that generic like Vogue.
Yeah, and rain.
Yeah, and rain. Yeah, all the time. Um, yeah, I would love to do some rain and underwater. I love water.
I've done a lot in the
Mhm.
rain. I have not done the underwater thing yet.
Oh, and fire. Have you done
I've done
fire?
fire.
Yes.
I did fire. I did my favorite fire shoot is I was in this is a photography thing, but I was in Antelope Canyon, which I've had a very fortunate a chance to shoot it a couple of times. And a Native American was out there about 10 o'clock, and as in PM, and they did a fire dance, and I got to photograph it.
Yes.
And here's a tip for photographers: if you're ever in Antelope Canyon and Native Americans will do a fire dance, you take that opportunity. Is what you do. Now, when fire for you is that spinning fire, or is that being around fire, or designs on the floor? What do you think?
I'm open to both. I've never spun fire. I want to, so I would. But I've done. I've stood by a fire during daytime. It wasn't
Hmm.
like dark and creepy like what I'm picturing and
But
envisioning
you
in
want
mind.
dark and creepy.
But I do, yeah. I would love to do some darker. I would love to do some in a group, not just solo. I would love to do some solo too. Anything with the elements would be cool.
So what attracts you to doing the rain shoot?
Um, I feel like there's a lot of beauty with it. I feel like there's a lot that you could do with it, touching the rain and moving it
Hmm.
and making an action shot or just standing or doing a dramatic pose, some kind of acrobat type thing. I can do a little bit of that myself. So I would love to do that in the middle of the rain. Um, I just really think of that. I have a happy place in my mind when I think about it. It just seems beautiful and very connected. And it, I don't know how well it would be for the photographer. I feel
I
like
love shooting in the rain. It doesn't bother me at all. I mean, the way I approach it, and again, this is to be clear, this is case by case. But if I'm shooting the elements, which is great because I've also shot in snow, I've shot in below zero, I've shot in all these different things. First of all, from a shooter standpoint, you have to have the model who's willing to do it. And in your case, I think that's brilliant that that's already taken care of, because what I have hit, not all the time, certainly, but there is a segment, which again is fine, of models that they have to be pretty all the time. And I can tell you right now, if you get in the rain, that ain't going to happen.
no,
The whole point to me of being in the rain is it's messy.
yeah,
And I think that's a really interesting look. And some just aren't
that's the
willing to do it. And
perfect
that's
way
fine.
to describe.
Yeah, it's going to get messy.
Yeah.
But one of the ways I describe it to models thinking about it is way after you dried off, you're going to get some amazing shots that are going to last that you can be really proud of.
Yes.
That's assuming that you work with a photographer that you gel with and can deliver. And there is an art to shooting in the rain. But to your thing, how does it with a photographer? Okay, I am not concerned about my comfort, and in all candor, I'm not concerned about your comfort. But the camera is everything. That thing is covered, it is pampered, and I shoot with, well, in my case, it's Nikon gear, but it's actually designed to withstand elements. That's not to say that it still can't get damaged, but I view it as that's the focal point, because without that, we cannot capture what we are collectively trying to create. So do I get wet? Probably. I don't care. You certainly would. And I think those shoots are brilliant. Do you think it's going to be color or grayscale or both?
Both.
Both.
I'd love to do both. I always envision maybe like transforming some of the droplets into a rainbow, or maybe doing just all black and white, or pop a color somewhere, maybe my shoes or something.
So what kind of outfit do you picture? Again, you can have anything in this scenario.
I'd probably have a few.
Like
Which
what?
would be great to try to change in that. Maybe like a short white dress, and taking off running and trying to do
Like through puddles or
yeah, splashing in the
Mhm.
puddle. Maybe do like some playing in the water or something. And then maybe put some black on, like black jeans with a bralette or something, and do a handstand, and maybe lay on the ground in the grass with a puddle nearby and just kind of like touching it. That's kind of what
So
I'm
you've
thinking
really
about.
thought this out. So you
Or a
just-
car, some
Mhm.
cars and stuff laying on the top.
Have you done car shoots?
I haven't, not for not for photography like purposes, for modeling. My husband used to have a Firebird. He took a picture of me sitting on the hood of it for a dance one night, but no, nothing professional.
So is that something you would aspire to do, as the mechanical, like cars or bikes or something, or are you more of the?
I would love to. I plan on getting a crotch rocket.
Oh wow!
So I would hope that a photographer would want to shoot me with my crotch rocket someday.
Oh, I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
I like the juxtaposition. If you've got the pretty girl on top of machinery, there's something about the stark contrast. It's
Yeah.
pretty amazing.
An army tank, if I had one.
That I've done.
You have?
Yeah, and that's a great deal of fun. And that
Yeah.
was. I'll put it this way: I would do it again in a second, but I don't know that. It's not like I have free access to a tank. I should ask you that. You're in the military. You're the one with a tank
Marketplace,
hookup.
Facebook, near Fort Campbell.
Yeah,
There's
there you
people
go.
selling stuff all the time.
Yep. So let's do this. You brought some pictures for us, so
Okay.
let's take a look. And I would like to turn this over to you and just kind of walk us through it. And let's just take a look at the first one here. Obviously, black outfit. I'm guessing this is indoors.
Yes.
Is this with John or no?
This is with John.
This is with John.
All these are with John. This one is in his studio. He's got a red light flashing from the back. I actually think this one is pink, and this is a gray background, and it's flashing up against it. And I was kind of going for like a last minute grunge kind of look, but it's not dark with the makeup like I would envision. But it was very last minute because I was doing jewels on my face and things, and you'll see that soon. And he was like, "Hey, grab this leather jacket and like do some poses with it." So I just flipped my hair over my shoulder, and he snapped it real quick. This was a motion shot, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Was this the first shoot, or this a little while in?
It was a little while in after I'd done a couple other things. I believe I'd already pulled all the jewels off my face, and I started to do this one. So yeah, I just flipped my hair around, and he started snapping, and he's like, "Oh, that one's actually really good." And I believe this was some of the first couple frames that he'd started.
Yep, sometimes the first one's the magic.
That's
Go
what he
figure.
always says.
No, but not always.
Not always.
Sometimes I
Absolutely.
throw away the first 20.
Yeah.
It's case by case. Okay, I'm assuming the jewels were your idea here or no?
It was kind of mutual. I actually came with a face decal, which is what's on my forehead. That's a whole just big sticker on my forehead. But he had a few things that he grabbed from Dollar General or ordered off Amazon, and he thought I was going to use all that, and I had came with all this extra stuff on my cheek and my eyebrows. And this one was actually published in a magazine, and if I can remember
Nice.
the name of it, I can't remember the name of the magazine, but he did get me published in an underground magazine.
Was that your first publication?
That was one of my first publications.
And was that a
Yeah.
landmark for you? I know some models just seem to live for that.
It was.
It
and
was.
He actually has had me published 3 times, and I think he's working on the 4th one now.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a very, very big difference in when I started, and it was kind of slow and trying to get
Mhm.
kicked off, and like I was doing some like stand-ins.
So it's
and
like,
stuff.
is that like a domino thing where like if you are published, I mean that's like the first hurdle is the most difficult, and then once you're published, then it's easier to get to the second and the third, or
I think it's his connection. Like I know he's a publisher, or he's a specific photographer for these magazines. So then he picks out of all the models that he's modeled, and he'll contact us and be like, "Hey, do you want to be in this? Is it okay? Like pick a photo that you like, and then we'll talk it out, and then we'll add it to it." But it seems like if you don't have somebody out there that can put it in, I never knew that I could be published by myself.
Mhm.
Like, I didn't know that was a thing. If it is a thing,
oh, it's a thing.
okay.
It's definitely a thing. My work's been published over the years. I mean, one of my favorite things is I won't give the name of the publication, but go to a newsstand and I was on the cover.
Okay.
Meaning not me, the work.
Okay.
And just to walk up to a random newsstand and go, I did
It's
that.
me.
Yeah, that's kind of a cool feeling. So I
Yeah.
to some extent I can kind of relate. Okay, mermaids. So now you guys are a few shoots in,
hmm
and his idea or your idea?
This was actually for the magazine. The next one.
So it was the
coming up.
magazine's idea.
It was the magazine.
So they come
yeah.
back, I guess, through John or through you,
Mhm.
and they say we're doing a mermaid.
I think John had seen an ad to a third party,
Mhm.
and he said, "Hey, do you want to do this? Can you come up with something?" And I said, "Yes, I've been wanting a mermaid tail forever, and I wanted a silicone one, but they're so expensive." So unless I'm sponsored or like doing some kind of advertisement for it, I probably won't be buying one. But I found this one, and it really turned out better than what we expected, compared to some of the models that I've seen do these things. I know I'm far-fetched, but
Is
I
it-
really am proud of this
Can
one.
I ask where you shot this?
Yes, Fall Creek Falls
Which is in
in
Kentucky or
It's close to Van Buren County.
Van Buren County.
Mm-hmm.
So this is, I'm assuming you did many frames
Yes. Mhm.
there, but was this your favorite or one of them, or how did?
This was one of my favorites. We had done a few. I'd actually done a few of me standing too, and doing kind of like a. Have you ever seen the movie? What is it? Oh man, the guys play this little group, Soggy Bottom Boys, and it's a movie, and they got the girls walking in the river, and they're like the
Is
sirens.
that the one with Clooney?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know
So
what
I
you're
did
referring to.
some of that to the side with like a little basket, and I was actually singing, "If I'll go down to the river."
Okay,
to
so that not in the mermaid outfit.
no,
Because I was about to
we've
ask you,
done
it seems like
two.
a standing mermaid would be counterintuitive,
no.
but okay, that
No, we done
that didn't
several
work out.
frames of the mermaid tail first, and then moved over to that later.
So what is what do you find is the biggest challenge if you're asked to be a mermaid? Is it just leg restriction or?
Leg restriction. My husband carried me to where I needed to go because I was not mobile at the time.
Right.
I touched water and turned into a mermaid, so I had to sit on the rock so he could take my pictures. But yeah, it was a little difficult. I would think if a model had a silicone tail, it'd be a little bit easier if she's like trying to get to a rock and swim over to it. That one was a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, I would. In your case, you have the hubby can just carry you and put you
Yeah.
where you need to be. I haven't done a mermaid shoot yet, but I really want to. And just looking at the work, it seems to me that one of the most obvious challenges to overcome is you see where the girl needs to be in this environment, and then the question is, how is she going to get out? Perhaps to point X. As a mermaid, did you bring the tail out there and then just do the whole thing there? Or did somebody carry you out there, which isn't how you solved it?
Slide it on. Just slide it on when it's time to go, and kind of be in a general area where you're going to shoot.
So you want to do it again, or is that
I would
one
love
and
to.
done?
I would love to do it again. I would love to do any kind of fantasy. Again, it's not like the priority on my list, but I love doing diversity shoots with different types of things, genres like that.
You mentioned earlier dark. Do you extend into cosplay, or do you just
I
more
have.
gothic?
I do. I have done an elf shoot with green hair. And it's floating in the universe somewhere. It'll eventually pop out in my Instagram. But yes, I have done a little bit of cosplay. I plan on doing some cartoon shoots here soon.
What I don't know. Is it a cartoon character?
Yes, Allison, Allison in Wonderland.
Oh, Alice in Wonderland. That's how I met Tierra. Actually, she was
Really?
doing Alice. Yeah.
It's fun. I really enjoy dressing up as a theme like that. It's very fun. When I did the elf shoot, we were actually near the what is it called in Nashville? The big tower. Oh my gosh, I should know what this is. Coliseum. The
You talking about
Coliseum.
the Nissan Stadium?
No, the it's like a replica of a Greek.
Oh, Parthenon.
The
I love
Parthenon.
shooting the Parthenon.
Yes, we were at the Parthenon. These children were coming by, and they thought we were like Disney characters when I had green hair and elf ears.
So did they make it into the shoot? Incorporate them or no?
Well, we were waiting for the photographer, and
so
we
that
had people come by and say,
just
"Can
kinda
they
went
take
on
a
by.
picture with you?" Of course you can. If you want to, it's fun.
I've had that happen a few times. I find it rather endearing that somebody is intrigued enough
Yeah.
to where they will they step into your world, in your case, as an elfin or something like that, and they actually want to be a part of it for a little while. It's kind of a cool thing, I think.
Mhm.
So you want to do rain? We've established that. I want to come back and talk a little, since you are 4'11". You're really, in that sense, I think, breaking that stereotype, and good for you, by the way, because I'm not really one to further enforce stereotypes. That every model has to be tall, or every model has to be, fill in the blank, or there's a checklist. I'm not a fan of that either. And you mentioned that, if I understood you correctly, that tribe represents many different.
They do.
Okay,
Mhm.
is that something that's important to you personally, or have you found that's just kind of an offshoot of what you do?
I respect all approaches that agencies may want to go for. Kind of sucks if I come up on one and they want 6 foot blonde and I'm not that. I obviously can't work with them. But I really do appreciate the diversity that they have opened up to now. I've heard like Victoria's Secret, they've opened up to more diversity nowadays, and it's been more of a norm. But it's still a movement. It's still happening. Like, we still have to keep our voice loud. Like, I have to keep my voice loud when I need to approach somebody and say, "Hey, I'm maybe 4'11", but I can rock this dress, or I can
Mm-hmm.
rock this runway. Whatever you need me to do, I can do it. Just the same as my best friend Lily." So,
Yeah, that's my take as a shooter. I think that, if I'm building, someone's brought an idea and, okay, we'll craft it and we'll put it together.
Mhm.
I don't necessarily not cast a model because she's 4'11", or because she's 6 foot. I think you're casting to fill a role or a series of roles.
yeah,
And I completely agree with you. I think that's an important point to make, that everyone out there who is aspiring to be a model, my suggestion is use our program. This is why we create this. Reach out to myself. I'm easy to find, Tim Temple, on Facebook. If you have questions, I do trade for print, which is a fancy way of saying that I'll shoot you for free, and everyone, meaning you and I, can use the results. I do that all the time. And I love working with local talent and people that are aspiring. So you can hit me up. Please hit Megan up, or our friends. And the point is that you're going to get questions answered. And I loved earlier, that's why I asked you, what's your advice to someone that's just starting out? Because I think if you do it safely and you do some basic research, you could end up having a lot of fun. Are you going to have a career? Maybe. But even if it doesn't end up being like the quote, the platinum rainbow, you can certainly have a great deal of fun and be hugely creative. Would you agree with that? Or
I do
you?
agree with that. I also think that it's very important to go into the industry and not expect like a massive thing to happen, and then when it does, it's a big surprise to you. Like, don't build yourself up for like this big, like multi-million-dollar thing that's going to take care of you your whole life. Like, that's not exactly what people really go into modeling for. They go into it for the art. So keep your mind like in the moment, live in the present, and just work like as it comes. Plan, of course. You have to look in the future and plan and make sure things work out, but don't expect big things. And then when big things do happen, it's going to be a big surprise for you.
Okay, someone wants to reach out to you. How do we find you?
I'm on Instagram. My Instagram handle is Miss Lady Miller, and on Facebook it's MEGHAN LEANN Miller, and I do have Twitter. You can find me Meghan Miller. If you type my name down anywhere, you're probably gonna find me MEGHAN LEANN Miller. So MEGHAN, regular spelling.
Yeah, there you go. So please, reach out, and it has been such a pleasure to have you here on the program. Thank you. And I wish you much continued success and many more publications. And let's do that rain shoot.
Absolutely.
'Cause it's going to be beautiful.
And fire.
And fire, and maybe the two together, which would be kind of awesome.
Yes.
Don't discount that. We're going to wrap this one up. Guys out there, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you because we can't do what we do without your support. So I hope you enjoy what we do. My name is Tim. I've been sitting in for Eric, and you are tuned to the Model Connection.
Thank you for tuning into the Model Connection podcast. Please like, follow, and subscribe on social media and everywhere you get your podcast. Links are in the description. Thank you and bye-bye.